Oh my gosh, I have to hold these up so high. How do you take a thumbnail? I guess I'll figure it out after I film this. Hello there, my name is Caroline, or Miss B overseas, and welcome to my first ever formal TBR video. I am going to tell you about all of the books that I plan on reading in the month of August, otherwise known as a TBR, right? How and where do I start? I am going to tell you about a book that I have already started and finished in the month of August, and that book is The Seep by Channa Porter. I know that it's a TBR and I'm really not supposed to like review books, but I just need to get it out there and say that I was so pleasantly surprised by how much I enjoyed this novel. It's like a near future dystopian sci-fi, and in this near future setting, Earth has been invaded by this alien life force called the Seep. They're not physical aliens, it's just something that essentially seeps into humans, and it causes just this sort of idyllic society where you can be anything you want, and that means career-wise. Like if you want to be an artist, you can be an artist. You want to be a doctor, you can be a doctor. You can also look like whatever you want. You can change your physical body shape to be whatever it is and look however it is you want to look. The story focuses on a trans woman named Trina. She is married to a woman named Deba, and within the exposition, Deba lets Trina know that she is thinking of being reborn as a baby. The rest of the plot kind of follows Trina's grief with her wife's decision to be reborn as this baby, and just kind of her struggle with living in this society that's losing its individuality. I really didn't know what to expect when picking this up, and I was surprised at how compulsively readable it was. It is quite short, but I never know with books like this. It was bizarre, but also hysterical, and then also very poignant at times, and I just was so pleasantly surprised with how much I enjoyed this. I guess it makes sense, since I told you about a book that I read and finished already in the month of August, to next tell you about a book that I am currently reading. It's an essay collection, and that is How to Slowly Kill Yourself and Others in America by Nyxia Unleashed. Kind of like a memoir, but in the form of an essay collection. This book actually got on my radar after reading The Fire This Time by Jesmyn Ward. I really enjoyed Nyxia Unleashed's contribution to that anthology, so I decided to pick up more of his essays so I could experience more of his writing. Like I said, this is a memoir, and he speaks mostly about growing up young and Black in America. I'm about a couple of essays in, and there have been topics just centering around like growing up in school, and then also going to university, prejudice and violence he experienced along the way. I find his writing to be blatantly honest, and the voice is really incredible, and I can't nail down exactly what it is about the writing that I enjoy so much. I'm reading about one essay each morning, and I look forward to reading the rest of them within the month of August. The next book that I plan on finishing in August is one that I have already started reading in the month of August. Listen, I know this is supposed to be a TBR. I'm supposed to be telling you about books I plan on reading. I just hit August really hard with my reading, I guess. I am about almost 200 pages into Monsters of Men by Patrick Ness. This is the third and final book in Patrick Ness's Chaos Walking trilogy. Chaos Walking trilogy is a young adult dystopian sci-fi, and I really can't tell you too much about this one without spoiling the other two. So I guess I can tell you that in this dystopian sci-fi world, Earth has recolonized on a new planet, and in the first book, The Knife of Never Letting Go, you learn that there is this settlement on this new planet and it is only men. And one thing that makes this dystopian or sci-fi world unique is that the men in this colony have been infected with something that they refer to as the noise, and the noise makes it so that everyone can hear everyone else's thoughts. Everyone's internal thought process is just on display 24/7. I can't really say a whole lot else about it without giving spoilers, but this has the potential to be my favorite trilogy of all time. I love this universe so much. I love the characters in it. I love the themes that it brings up about war, I guess, and violence and morality. Patrick Ness always does, I think, really fantastic things with monsters and monstrosity and what it means to be a monster. If you've read several of his books, you kind of notice that as a theme or a motif throughout. Like I said, just over 200 pages into this, and if this book keeps it up, this has the potential to be my favorite trilogy of all time. So that is the last of the books that I have read and finished or am currently reading in the month of August. Now I'm going to tell you about the books that I plan on reading in the rest of August but have not started yet. And the first one is Nyxia Unleashed by Scott Rankton. This is the second in a sci-fi trilogy. So the first one of this is called Nyxia. This takes place also in a near future setting. Essentially, a corporation has rounded up a group of teenagers because they need to go to this other planet to mine this substance called Nyxia. And the primary plot point in Nyxia, they essentially round up these 10 teenagers and tell them that they're all going to travel to this planet and they are going to go through these series of trainings. Only the 8 teenagers, I'm trying to hold up, only the 8 teenagers that perform the best on these competitions and these trainings will actually get to go on to the planet and mine and receive this like crazy compensation. I loved the first book, and I don't know why I didn't continue the series after, so I am very excited for Nyxia Unleashed. This next one I am so excited for. It is a book that I probably would consider one of my most like anticipated reads of 2020, and that is A Song of Wraiths and Ruin by Roseanne Brown. This is her debut novel, and it is a young adult West African inspired kingdom fantasy, and it involves a runaway princess, I believe. I think that there's an enemies to lovers storyline in there. It has been a while since I have read a good old-fashioned YA kingdom fantasy. In fact, I don't even know if I've read any YA fantasy in 2020. That can't be true. I have very high hopes for this. I have heard nothing but positive reviews since it has come out. So the next book on my TBR is not one that I have a physical copy of that I can hold up, because I'm actually planning on listening to it via audiobook, and it's going to be a reread. And that is Illuminae by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. I binge read the entire Illuminae series for the first time around this time last year. I completely just lost my mind over the whole trilogy. Since then, I have heard overwhelmingly positive things about the audiobook, so I decided to check that out. I know that it's a full cast, and people say that just the way that it's produced, get the same like atmospheric sense as you do when reading the book. Like I said, it's just an overwhelmingly well-received audiobook. So I'm looking forward to listening to that. Another book that I want to read during the month of August that I do not have a physical copy of, it is on the way, is The Death of Vivek Oji by Iveke Emezi. This book has been on my must read as soon as I possibly can list ever since I read Emezi's debut novel Freshwater earlier this year. I have never read a story in which I have been so enraptured and lured in by the writing, and the story itself was dynamic and multifaceted. The Death of Vivek Oji, I don't know very much about. I know that it's set in Nigeria and it is crime literary fiction. It centers around Vivek Oji, who I know that within like the first chapter turns up dead at his mother's doorstep, and then the story is told in reverse about his life and how he ended up there. So the final book that I plan on reading in the month of August is kind of unique in the way that I chose it. For my birthday, my sister got me this amazing poster, like a scratch off poster, and it has 100 amazing reads for, or epic reads for, young adults. And the idea is that every single time you read one of the titles, you can scratch it off and add on like a sticker with your star rating. I was really surprised that out of the 100, I had already read 26. I have only within the past like year and a half really gotten back into reading, and because I did not pick up a whole lot of books before 2019, last year, there is this incredible backlog of books that I have missed, and it can get really overwhelming thinking of all of the books that I haven't read. I figured that I could use this poster as a way to kind of chip away at that backlist, so I am going to pick one book each month from the poster that I will read. But there was a title on this poster that I already physically own, so I figured I could start with that one, and that book is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This is another young adult fantasy, although I'm particularly excited about reading this one because I've heard that it's fantasy but with like a dystopian twist. I do not know much beyond that. I think that the main character's name is Mare, and I think there are two kind of warring societies. I'm really excited to read it, and I'm excited to be able to work my way through the books on this poster that my sister so graciously gave me. So that's it. Those are the books that I am going to attempt to finish in the month of August. And I guess let me know if you've read any of these and have any opinions on them. I'm really excited to connect with others over books. Again, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.